Eddie Guerrero that, well, Chyna apparently seems to be attracted to. It's the heat, Latino heat.
These videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
Hey there, I'm social injustice warrior Infuso, and I don't think it's a brave opinion to say that Eddie Guerrero is one of the all-time greats. From his charisma, to his lovable charm, to his amazing in-ring work. The guy was phenomenal. Sorry, AJ, I'm sorry. There's no doubt that Eddie created one hell of a legacy, being one of the most liked performers in the industry. And not just of his time, but of all time in general. He took part in many memorable moments, from his incredible matches to unforgettable promos. Eddie Guerrero will forever be a big part of wrestling history. Most people probably remember him for his run as WWE Champion, an accolade that he was told he'd never accomplish, a boyhood dream come true, a career-defining moment, and don't get me wrong, it was great. And I do have every intention of eventually covering that period of time on this channel. However, one of my fondest memories of Eddie was during his Latino Heat run. Now, I know a couple of you are like, V, what the hell are you talking about? He was always Latino Heat. Ever since he came to the WWE, that's what they called him, Latino Heat, Latino Heat, Latino Heat. He was Latino Heat up to the day he died. That fire might even still be burning, we don't know. And while you're not wrong, that nickname would follow him. That nickname was more prominent for his Playboy character. Well, Playboy's probably not the right word, and you'll see why in a bit. For his ladies' man gimmick. And his Latino Heat run would see him end up in a relationship with Chyna, of all people. During a feud with Y2J Chris Jericho over his European Championship, Eddie began trying to pursue the ninth wonder of the world.
Take it easy, mamacita. I know you're here really, because you want some Latino heat.
Chyna, who at the time was Jericho's partner. Chyna told him to buzz off, but Eddie was persistent, channeling Pepe Le Fou. I don't... He continued his pursuits, not taking no for an answer. Eventually, she was worn down by his Latino heat, and those are her words, not mine. And in doing so, she'd wind up betraying Chris Jericho and siding with Guerrero. A moment that allowed Jericho and the audience to breathe a sigh of relief, because that pairing was doing nothing for nobody. Luckily, Chyna and Eddie would have much more chemistry than the former pairing, and Eddie would leave that night with the girl and the title. Despite being heels, as highlighted by Chyna leaving Jericho and later leaving Lita, the team was constantly cheered because of how beloved they were with the audience. They played so well off of each other, and their time together was beneficial for both parties. They became one of my favorite parts of Raw personally, and I know I'm not alone in thinking that. They were a believable item on TV, and just reminded you of that annoying couple who were far, far too into each other. You know the ones. You're hanging out with your friends, everyone's there, they're making out like fucking animals on the couch. You take out a spray bottle, you start squirting them, try and get them to stop, and now they're angry at you, and you get kicked out of the house. What did you do wrong? You don't want to see that. You didn't come here for dinner and a show. Just came here for dinner. I think we can all relate to that. No? Just me? They were so annoying that they'd even call each other by their pet names, with Eddie referring to Chyna as his mamacita, and Chyna calling Eddie Latino Heat, as we've previously discussed just a little bit earlier, if you remember. I know it was way back when, but we talked about it.
I've been really wanting to know why you did what you did.
The truth is, I really couldn't resist your Latino heat.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Hey. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You know, there's scissors and papers too, mamacito.
Right hand blue, none of the up my right foot yellow. What's your head now, baby?
Your mouth.
Uh-oh. Can you tie my boot, please?
I'll tie your boot.
Hey, remember Eddie Guerrero? Big Matt Hardy.
Mamá no andes haciendo eso. Chyna! It kind of reminds me of last night. Up and down, up and down.
Oh, wait a minute. What? He's like a little chihuahua.
And you got a quarter?
Yeah, I got it. Ah, look, it's magic! Oh.
Eddie, it's okay.
Are you sure it's okay?
Yes.
Are you positive?
Yes, I'm positive.
Oh, Mommy, I'm just so sorry. Wait a minute, now let me open up the door for you. Let's go kick some booty. Ooh. Speak about booty? Ay, ay.
You take nothing seriously. What do you mean I take nothing serious? I'm trying to win the game. That's serious.
No more silly stuff. Like this.
The relationship got so serious that Eddie actually brought Chyna to his prom. I shit you not. That's not me making a bad joke. I know you might be used to that here. I do it quite often.
At the prom, I hope you look as good as me, because I am stylish.
Oh my God, what the hell is that?
I was the bomb at my cousin Chewy's wedding. You're the bomb. Ooh, man, all the guys are gonna go wild over
This
you.
is the one.
Mamacita, you look beautiful.
Eddie would take Chyna to his prom because he was graduating and getting a GED. He'd also successfully defend his title that same night. The pairing would become so cheered that they were turned babyfaces by proxy, as people didn't really want to boo the conniving Eddie or his mamacita. Eddie's team of the Radicals would become alienated, both with Eddie's success in being European champion and his obsession with his new girlfriend. And while at first all seemed good and well, we'd soon find out that there was trouble in paradise. It started when Eddie was booked in a match against his girlfriend.
Oh, come on, baby. Shake it, but don't break it.
Eddie, you need to be serious about this match tonight.
I am serious.
He'd roll her up and get the 3 count. So this way he could move on further in the King of the Ring tournament. And look, I mean no disrespect to anybody here, but I don't know if the King of the Ring tournament is worthy of risking a relationship over. I mean, a title shot? Sure. Higher power like a GM position? Of course, go do it. But the King of the Ring? The King of the Ring. Not really all that prestigious, buddy. I mean, there was like 5 at most people that gimmick worked for. Maybe closer to 4.5. But then again, I guess this is the same guy who left his friends to pursue a career as European champion, so, you know, I guess it fits into his character. Chyna was hurt by this gesture, and their friction would only be exasperated when Eddie's feelings toward Chyna began to get grim. We'd see shades of Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, with Guerrero becoming insanely jealous of Chyna and all those around her.
But you know, trust, it's a really big thing in a relationship. It means everything. Without it, you have nothing.
What the hell? Hey, kid. ¿Qué está pasando aquí? What's going on, man?
And you were just gonna dance. It's embarrassing. We're doing pretty good out here. Hot weather. Oh, there they go. Oh, and the Guerrero. They're right to the bell.
You look good tonight.
Hey, you said, why don't you mind your own business and get the hell out of here? This is between me and Mamacita.
What?
Talking about? Mamacita, what are you doing, mommy? That's it.
Eddie!
Over here,
Eddie,
man.
stop it!
Hey,
This
that's
is
my
ridiculous.
mommy, that's it.
Eddie!
I know I was jealous, okay? I'm not gonna be jealous anymore.
Guerrero and Chyna would take on Val Venus and Trish Stratus in an intergender tag match for the IC title. And no, I didn't say that wrong, and no, you didn't mishear me. A tag team intergender match for a singles belt.
So Joe Della, at Collateral Damage, when we go a one-on-one for these tag team titles?
I can't even blame Russo. He wasn't even with the company at the time. Can't even blame him. The stipulation being whoever got the winning pin would become champion. And in this case, it was Chyna, who is now a 3-time Intercontinental Champion. Eddie seemed surprisingly supportive, saying he didn't care which one of them was champion, just so long as it was one of them.
It's been a dream of mine to be a champion here, ever since I got here. But if you win that title in SummerSlam, I'll be the happiest man in the world.
Eddie's support ranged on being a bit too overprotective, as when Chyna was booked to defend her title against Kurt Angle, he'd asked management to add him to that match so that he could better protect her. Of course, it wasn't all that cut and dry, as Eddie turned heel, hitting Chyna with her belt accidentally. Oh, I'm sorry. Accidentally. And then by pinning her by mistake. Chyna was yet again heartbroken over the betrayal, but Eddie was smitten with the idea of being champion, going so far as to continue to defend his title in nefarious ways. A sign of what was to come with his whole cheat to win gimmick.
You mean everything to me. This belt doesn't mean nothing compared to what you mean to me. You're the world.
Despite his win, his jealousy over Chyna only continued to build up, with Eddie trying to put a stop to Chyna being Playboy's cover girl.
You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. Leaving, okay? Oh, just wait, man. Just hear me out, okay? She's gonna be out there being like, bam, and bam. I mean, she's gonna be showing it all. If your girlfriend was coming out, I mean, your mamacita was coming out for the whole world to see. I mean, naked for every man to be lusting over. I mean,
besides, the magazine has already been printed. It's coming out Monday.
Monday? I can't believe it's coming out Monday. What? No, I gotta destroy those magazines. Excuse me.
To make matters even worse, it seemed like the two were fighting, breaking up, and then making back up afterward every week.
You are the first person that I ever let into my heart. Do you know that? No. I would have given you that title. I would have given you anything.
Please talk to me. Would you talk to me if some beautiful flowers were involved? Please? You gotta talk to me sometime. You can't be Eddie forever.
I'm fine, Eddie. Understand? I don't understand, Eddie. Lately, I just don't know.
You don't know what, baby?
Don't call me that, Eddie.
Oh, come on. Those hoes meant nothing to me, baby. You mean the world. How can you stand it and talk to me like this after everything that I've done for you? How about some chocolate for your sweetness, baby? Please talk to me.
I'm on a diet.
What happened last week won't happen again ever, I promise.
Yeah, it won't. Do you think I'm an idiot? You think I don't know that you weren't as sick as you were making out to be? I am not a hoe. Never I am not a floozy. I love you. Just I trusted you. I respect you.
I've given up my friends, my family, my own personal wants in my life for you. Please forgive me. Uh-oh. Find it in your heart to forgive me. Please. Okay, Mommy. Wait. Before you push me out, just listen to me, okay? Baby, I love you. I mean, you're everything to me. I love you more than life itself. I love you more than myself, more than anything in my life.
Okay, look, I went out there to face Rikishi because you wanted me to, Eddie. Because you asked me to. Because I thought that you would have done the same for me. I never want to see you again, Eddie.
No, baby, see, you can't do that. Please don't leave. Chyna. TV, yeah, Jay Leno. You were on there 3 times. What was I ever mentioned? Me! Huh? When? I would have done anything for you. I mean, I went out there. I was sick. I was coughing. I had cramps. I had a fever. Third rock from the sun. Where's Eddie? Nowhere to be found. Listen, hear me out, okay, Mommy? I'm nothing without you, baby. Don't leave me. You already are nothing, Eddie.
Give me that crap, Eddie. You left me alone out there. I'm sorry.
Your magazine, it wasn't even in 1 page! I mean, if I would have gone into that ring, things could have gotten a lot worse, okay?
Don't give me that crap, Eddie. You are not the same person that I fell in love with, Eddie.
Don't leave me, come on. Where are you going?
We fight, we break up, we kiss, we make up.
And just when it seemed that Chyna was at her wit's end, Eddie found the perfect way to reel her back in. With a proposal. Eddie asked the 9th wonder of the world to marry him, which she happily accepted.
Please, I can't live without you. I want you forever. Will you marry me?
Yes, Eddie, I'll marry you.
Can't believe this!
The two would continue their pairing for a short while before Eddie was caught showering with the Godfather's hose. And that's not me dismissing them. That's what they were called. That's what they were referred to as. So, all the sexist comments you're thinking about leaving, go ahead and leave them anyway, because it's fun for me. Chyna would call off the marriage, and the two would begin to feud as both DX and the Radicals would briefly reform for that year's Survivor Series. They had brief interactions following the fallout, with Eddie teaming up with one of his fellow Radicals and Chyna teaming up with DX buddy Billy Gunn, but for the most part, that was really it. That was their time together.
And I know that you're probably crying, oh, how I miss my Latino heat. All those tears you can save for your newfound lover, Goldilocks. They're not lovers, King. Billy Gunn and Chyna are longtime friends.
Eddie, of course, would go on to do great things, while Chyna would eventually be dumped by the company and look into other ventures, such as reality TV and porn.
She would, of course, be the queen of the ring.
And Chyna is yet another person I intend to cover in a full video. And I really could worded that sentence better after just saying she did porn. Either way, that's it for me, guys, and I hope you enjoyed. And if you didn't, well, you'll let me know. I know you. I know you guys. You'll let me know. So with that being said, I'm the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and if you like the words that came out of my mouth hole and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this video came from. Follow me on Twitter because, hell, why not? It's not considered stalking if it's on the internet, am I right? And don't forget to join the Discord. I don't have anything catchy to add to that, but just join it. Just go do it. And if you have a free moment of time and a free dollar to spare, then head over to my Patreon, where for just $1, you too could help keep this boat afloat. And if you don't have that dollar, but you do have a free moment of time, then hit the share button. It will help me out tremendously.
VTards, oh.